we're going to start with, I've got my Dr. P.H. Martin's here, and that's a neat little pool there. What we want then is to create almost a 50-50, if you like. I'm just going to make a little pool there, and I'm going to add more water. And really don't be afraid to add water to this, because there aren't any mistakes, and this is all a practice run anyway, so go for it. So we've got watery white, we've got 50-50, and we've got the neat white. So what we're going to start with is the very watery white, and we're just going to mess around with that, pull it through. You can hardly see that on the page, however when it's finished somehow your eye knows that that's still there when there's layers on top of it, and if you photograph it that comes through. It's amazing when it does. Let's go with our 50-50 mix here. So you're starting to see more opacity, and then let's go with our neat white. Now Dr. P.H. Martin's, you probably know, is kind of half liquid. It doesn't come out the same way as out of the tube in a way. I love its consistency though. So that's a very opaque white. So the way that we're going to do the petals, I am using the filbert, but again you can use a round brush. Let me just grab a round brush and I can show you, because I don't like putting pressure on my followers to buy new materials when it's not necessary. So if we're using the round brush, whoops, watch for drips, we would, I kind of tend to do my petals to the side, using the top to the halfway point, so a little like this. So slightly on an angle, but you can also use it like this, put the tip down, and this is what you will have seen this movement in a lot of other classes. Push down, wiggle, and bring it up. Push down, wiggle. Looks like wings. It's quite nice actually. That's the side sweep, I like to call it. Push down, wiggle, bring it to the centre. So that's with the round brush. Now on this class I am kind of mentioning the fact that makeup brushes have all the same shapes as artist brushes at a fraction of the cost, and so I actually bought these. I don't really wear a lot of makeup. I bought these for painting with because they're so cheap, and I like kind of just messing about with the shapes and seeing what I can get out of it. So have a look, borrow from friends, have a look in the house for other shapes like this, other brushes, things that are not meant to be brushes but actually work really well. So this is a lovely little brush actually, probably use that one again. Makeup brush, I know, big breakthrough. Right, let's get back to these petals that we've done here. So we could even go further back, I think, to this. Let's add some more water. And I'm wiggling my brush now. I don't think I will do this. I might forget, but that's another thing you can do. So what we're doing there is allowing those to dry. This is almost dry, so what I'm going to do is add the 50-50. I've run out a bit over here, so, and I'm just going to pull some petals. I tend to go in between the other ones. And can you see how lovely that is, and how pretty that these little layers kind of come through from behind the opaque layer. So let's have another practice. Lots of water. As to the way that you hold your brush, you can actually do these upside down. in some ways it's a lot easier. So if you imagine the daisy head here, and then we're going to bring the petals up, and then we can turn it round to do the head. You can also try very slow movements, putting down the point, flaring it out, bringing it up again. If that's more comfortable for you, then you go with the slow movements. There's also an expressive gestural way, which I did in my practice runs with this, which gets you a lovely daisy petal. And if you want broader ones, I was using the side of this filbert then, we can use the full filbert. I quite like fast movements because they look just a little bit more alive and a bit more movement in them. So this is dried here. I can go back in and do some more opaque petals over the top. They're beautiful in themselves, aren't they? I sometimes just look at things and think I shouldn't do any more. But let's move on, and I'm going to show you how to use the stippler. Now, I always believe that if you're doing kind of heads for flowers, what looks nice is more than one colour. So you're kind of adding a bit of yellow in this case, a little bit of green, and then I'm going to be using a little bit of brush show if you happen to have it. So this is so fun, and when I discovered this I was thinking, oh, I can't wait to share this with you because it's such an interesting technique and it's so easy. So we're going to go in with the yellow first. That's quite watery, so the thing with the stippler for this technique is we don't want it too watery. So again, we can try it out. Let me show you how that would look. You can see there that we've lost a lot of the yellow and it's not looking very characterful. So let's get our yellow, dab a little bit off. Let's go into a bit of this green. So we want quite a lot of pigment on this, and you can always have a practice run before applying it to the page. So let's have a look. That's quite wet as well, but we're getting there. And then I'm going to just perpendicular. Now we're just going to dab it into the moss green. Dab off the excess. You'll have to dab off more than you think. And don't throw this paper out. If you're using this is recycled kitchen paper, it looks absolutely gorgeous when you're finished. So don't throw this out because we can collage with that in another class. So let's have a look. Now, what brushstroke gives you is this characterful, kind of textural, gorgeous stippling effect, and you can't really get that with just a tiny brush and all that. I mean, some people could. I don't think I could. It would take so long. But we can get this effect really quickly. It looks so nice as a daisy head. So let's add a bit more on. We're trying to keep it nice and dry. This is hard to show because my phone won't focus very well because we have to really use it kind of downwards like this. But let's just have a little practice. Less is more. Little dabs at the top there. It's quite nice actually if you go in whilst the paint is still wet. So let's have another go at this. I'm going to wash that off. Let's have another practice with the stippler. In with the green, so we've got yellow, green gold. Why not try a little bit of that, just taking a tiny bit of that perylene green, and brush out. You can always go over these as well if they're dried, and it's so lovely, isn't it? It's such a nice technique. So you could start with the stippling and then bring up the petals to meet that. Actually, if you're getting quite quick, you can just kind of allow that brush out to bleed into the petals. Here I'm doing a downward movement, and that's another option for you, just kind of 2 swoops like that. So you can see that it's kind of bleeding into the white a little bit. Let me show you now without the stippler brush. So if you don't have a stippler and you don't have brusho, no problemo, because you can get your small brush. You can even use your liner brush or something, and we're going to pick up some of that yellow, not much of that left, a tiny bit of the green gold, and we're going to do like a C curve. I'm going to do a larger one here so you can see. So just a C curve. Whilst that's still wet, let's get in and do a darker green, just taking a little bit of that perylene, mixing it with the green gold. I'm just going to go round to the other side. I want that to blend in quite nicely there. It's a very simple daisy head. I can drop some water in. And we can draw up the petals to that. I've done like a full round head there, but we can do like semicircles. Doing 2 strokes there, so just so we can see how this works. And again, you can do this quickly so that you get the bleed from the centre, or you can wait till the centre is completely dry. Let's do a kind of a, I think I might just drop some darker in there as well. Let's do a semicircle one. So a bit of yellow, almost finished that. Green gold. So like a dome shape there, and then we're going to add some of the darker green, whatever you've got. You can leave a little tiny little white space if you want, always looks nice. Now I know if I'm going to go in here that's going to bleed a lot into the petals, so I probably would wait, but let's just draw some petals up or down into this little head. So there we have a little half dome. This is a full circle. Then we will go in with some neat white. Let me show you that. So very neat. And I'm going to do some little highlights. I'm going to just try and be free with this, just do little, tiny little petals. Turn it upside down if that works. And then going back, we can keep on developing layers. So we've got the very watery yellow, white, we've got the 50-50 white, and this is the opaque white. So you can see the difference there and how we can start to build up the layers and how pretty they become. So there, the reason why I like a filbert is you do get these lovely daisy shapes, and you can always use the very tip of the brush and just to drag tiny little petals down over the watery white there. This is got a lot going on, but we can still go over there with a neat white. It does help taking your hands off the table, but it's a bit daring to do, and it takes a bit of just getting familiar with the brush that you're using to do that. Okay, so moving on.